And now we turn to Ohio Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, who got arrested this week while protesting for voting rights. Chair Beatty, thank you very much for coming back to the Sunday show.
Thank you, Jonathan, for having me.
So as a member of the House, you've done your work. You voted and passed the For the People Act, but it's sitting in the Senate. Why did you find it necessary to get into good trouble on Thursday?
Well, first of all, thank you. And I think it's very important for the American people to know that we are doing something, that we're fighting for justice. In John Lewis's latest book, John Lewis Carries On, he talks about how hard they fought to change the voting rights laws of August the 6th, 1965, and how many times, 4 times under Republican leadership, we restored it. When you look at H.R. 1 and H.R. 4, it's all about our right to vote. It's taking away the restrictions. What we want to do is take away those restrictions that Republicans have put on it. And it's about passing the John R. Voting Rights Act. It was important for us to go to send a strong message. Think about it. The only time things have changed is when people have spoken up and fought for what they really believe in. And the Congressional Black Caucus believes in this. We're on record stating this, and we're going to continue to fight for H.R. 1 and H.R. 4.
Continue to fight. My question is, are you going to continue to put your, not just rhetorical self on the line, but like you did last Thursday, your physical self on the line? You're prepared to be arrested however many times it takes until real action happens?
Well, and let me say to you and the American people, think back in our rich history. But for the Montgomery boycott in March, we wouldn't have had the civil rights of 1964. But for that, we wouldn't have had the civil rights of 1965. Yesterday, I was at the Black Lives Matters Plaza after getting off a 5.5-hour flight honoring the battleship named in honor of John R. Lewis in San Diego, California. I am going to let the American people know that the Congressional Black Caucus has a strong message. And the answer to your question is yes. We've had conversations over the weekend. We met with Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who has been out front. She got H.R. 1 For the People Act passed on the House floor. We are going to be having dialogues with our senators, Republicans and Democrats, because we have done a carve-out for voting rights. We should do a carve-out for voting rights. Majority Whip Jim Clyburn has talked about it. We know it has happened, so there's already precedent for that happening. So we have a lot of options, and yes, it includes taking it to the people, taking it to the streets, being as strong as we can. How can I not, when I think of what John Lewis and Fannie Lou Hamer and Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman and so many more did?
Congresswoman Beatty, as chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, have you had a meeting, or members of the Black Caucus had a meeting with Senator Manchin to talk about voting rights?
It's interesting that you mentioned that. Our offices with staff have had an opportunity to have a dialogue, as I understand it, and that is at the top of my agenda when we return on Monday, to reach out to him. Also, my colleague in the House when I came in, Christian Sinema, and I came in together. So we want to have an open dialogue. I heard what he said in your clip. He believes that he may have some support. So I think we have good rationale and reason to sit down and see what we can do specifically as it relates to the filibuster and where we go from here with H.R. 1 and H.R. 4, which we are hoping to have that finalized. Our last hearing, hopefully yet this month. We finished the hearings under the Office of Administration Civil Rights Committee with Congressman G.K. Butterfield, and we are working with the judiciary to make sure that they get their hearings completed so we can write the legislation and address all of the issues, i.e. from what just happened with Section 2 in the Arizona Brnovich case.
Congresswoman Joyce Beatty of Ohio, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, who got into good trouble last Thursday. Thank you very much for coming back to the Sunday show.